Hi everyone, Phil from Tech for Techs here. Today we're going to be looking at this from Tenda. It's the Nova MW12. In basics, it's an AC2100 tri-band whole home mesh Wi-Fi system, or even more basics, it's a mesh Wi-Fi system which is designed to increase the signal in your home or office so you can get faster speeds, more items connected and so forth. And we're going to give you a run through of what's inside the box and give it some testing to see how it compares to their previous models. The recommended retail price of this is $269.99. We do have links in the description below. They will show you the cheapest prices available in your country, so make sure you click that link just below. Okay, so let's have a look at the box. So we've got the Nova. It is the MW12 free pack. So that's the model. There are other models. We'll go through those in a few minutes. This is an AC2100 tri-band whole home mesh Wi-Fi system. Tri-band basically means it's got 3 Wi-Fi signals going out, which gives you even better coverage. Devices, if you've got any devices which are tri-band, anything along that lines, basically means it's better than dual band, which is obviously better than single band devices. So it gives you basically at the moment the best of what you're able to get Wi-Fi signal wise. As it says, it covers up to 6,000 square feet. Bear in mind that goes up and down depending on houses and stuff, walls and different things what are around. But again, it gives you a rough idea what sort of coverage you can actually get. So, and as you can see, it says covers up to 6,000 square feet. Multi-wall penetration, so that basically means it sends the signal through the walls. It's got that tri-band design which I told you about, which it's also got gigabit ports. So that means if you've got a Nova in one room, let's say a bedroom, and you've got a computer in the bedroom and you don't want to connect up to Wi-Fi, you want to connect up to the router or to the Nova with a cable, you can do, and it'll wirelessly send the signal from the master node, which is plugged into your router, to this secondary node which is plugged into your PC, and you connect up just as if you've got a cable plugged directly into your main router, which may be rooms away and which you're not able to connect a cable into, which is ideal for stuff like NAS systems or high-end gaming PCs where you want the fastest speeds possible. Obviously nothing replaces a direct connection into a router, but that's going to be a lot faster than using just standard Wi-Fi. Ideal again for stuff like NASs and stuff, and I actually use one on an MW6 system, which is a dual band. I've got a NAS plugged into one, and it does the job absolutely fine. And it goes on about here, 900 megahertz dual core and so forth, just telling you how fast it is, which probably means nothing to most people. So let's have a look at the rest of the box. So on there you've got basic information. On the back is where it all is by the looks of it. So it shows you an example how it works. You position them in different places in the house. So let's just say your main router was in the living room, which is here. You position one in, let's just say, the kitchen or near the stairs, and then you position one on, say, the landing or a room upstairs, and that will then spread the signal all the way around the house. And it goes on about all the different bits. You can see the different models they've got on here. They've got the MW3, 5G, the 6, and this one, which is the 12. Basic differences is the range it covers and the speeds, as well as how many devices. For example, the MW3 supports 40 devices, the 5 supports 80, the 6 supports 90, and this one supports 120. When I say how many devices, that's how many things you can connect up to it. So phones, TVs, laptops, and so forth. And other things is speeds. So it supports the MW3 100 megabytes, and the MW12 supports over 500 megabytes by the looks of it. A little bit of a crease in the box. So it gives you a rough idea. But the basics is the higher ones, the MW5, 6 and 12, if I'm correct, do have gigabit ports on there, where the MW3 does not. So it's only ideal for speeds roughly under 100 megs. But that gives you a rough idea. That's the box. So this is what you've got in the box. You've got basically the quick installation guide, which tells you how to do it. Tells you need to download an app if you want to change the settings. It tells you what the lights do on the top. Basically green means good, amber means okay-ish, and red means bad. You've also got basically terms and conditions rubbish over there. We're not going to read those for now. But you've got one Ethernet cable, which is roughly 1.5 meters long. You've got 3 power cables to power each of the Novas. Those are roughly 1.2 meters long. So just bear in mind, wherever you're going to position the main node, it's going to have to be roughly within 1.2 meters, 1.5 meters of your main router. So what you would do would be connect this cable into here, connect that up to your main router to one of the ports on the back, obviously plug the power cable in, that one's working, then you plug those two in and those two are working. Obviously you position them different places in your house to spread the signal. So that's the basics for the plugs and the cables. So the Nova nodes itself, we'll look at this one. It does have a slight diamond design on there, I'd say it is. It looks pretty good. It might be sort of a cross Celtic style design. It's hard to tell with the lights. But on the bottom it does have 4 rubber feet to stop it sliding around, which is good. It does have 2 little cutouts there which you could use to mount on a wall if you wanted to, and lots of little holes on the bottom which are designed for keeping it nice and cool. It has a little hole there for reset, so if you want to do a factory reset on it for whatever reason, you can click there. Inside you've got the information, so it tells you the, for example, the wireless code there, so the name, so it's a Nova whatever, and then the password to obviously let anyone onto the router. That will be the same on every single node you get. So obviously in the free pack. You've got a QR code as well that'll take you to the link to download the software if you want to, as well as helping you connect up, possibly depending on the device you're connecting with. You've got 4 ports in here. One's for the power, which is pretty straightforward. You plug it in there. Next one is WLAN or WAN, which is where you would connect up your Ethernet cable, which is this one, and plug that other end into your router, so your BT Home Hub or whatever it may be called, basically your modem where your internet comes into the house. And then you've got 2 more ports. That's general LAN connections. These are gigabit ports apparently, so that means you can connect up other devices directly to this. So you could use this not only as a Wi-Fi sort of extender, sorry to use the word, but mesh system, but you could also use it as sort of like an access point, so you can plug devices directly into it, like a NAS system, which is a network attached storage, or other things like a PC or even a TV or something like that. You can plug it directly into there. Even printers, for example, it will let you plug them directly into there, as long as obviously they use an Ethernet connection, which is also known as a LAN, Cat5, Cat6, whatever. As long as it uses that basically plug there, you can plug it in, so it gives you a rough idea. So that's basics to it. Otherwise you've got a little light on the top that goes green once it's connected. If it goes yellow, that means it's got a fair connection. If it's red, it means it's disconnected. It's pretty straightforward. Let's plug them in and just show you briefly how they work. Okay, I'm going to show you how to set these up from scratch. The only difference from what you would be using would be the cable which you connect up to your main router. I'm having to use a longer cable, which you could do as well, but you'd have to go out and purchase one because our main router is so far away from our bench here where we're testing them on. The basics is you get a cable, you plug it in one end into your main router or modem or whatever you want to call it, and then you plug it into the bottom of here, which is basically the one with the blue symbol you plug it into, which is WAN, also known as LAN as well, because I think it doubles up as both. So you plug that into there, so that's in. So that's nice and simple. Then you get your power cable. and plug that in, well, the power cable socket. Okay, so it's pretty straightforward. There is a cutout where you can position the cables under at the back, so it doesn't get in the way. Now this will connect up to the internet. As you can see, it's already lit up green, so I'd be surprised if it's connected already, but we'll give it a go and find out. So yeah, it's starting to flash a little bit there. So if I go onto my phone, as you can see it's flashing now, so I'm guessing that's in the process of connecting. If I just go onto settings, go for Wi-Fi, and look for the name of the node on the bottom. It's finally come up. It takes a few seconds because we've only just turned it on. Just like if you're turning a router on, it takes a minute or two to come on. You click the name of the node and it asks for the password. As we said, the password is on the bottom, so, and it's the same on all the nodes. You can change that in the software if you wish, which you have to use an app on your phone or tablet to do that. So as soon as you put your password in, it should connect up and work. And it looks like I've typed the password in wrong, which doesn't help, so make sure you do it exactly as it is. Press join. That seems to be going through now. So as you can see, that is now connected. Okay, so that's as simple as it is to connect it up. Obviously make sure you put the right password in right, otherwise it won't connect. I'm just going to do a quick test just to make sure it is working as it should be. That's connected up. Yeah, and my Wi-Fi is now connected to this Nova, which is very good news. Our internet, where I'm testing at the moment, is only around about 50-60 megabytes, and it's picking up that sort of speed on here, so that's pretty good. We will be testing it on a faster network. I'll take it to our retail store, where we've got internet speed coming in at about 400 megabytes. Well, that's the basic of how to set it up. Now, if you want to set one of the other nodes up, ideally you take it into another room. You just get the power cable, plug the power cable in, obviously plug the other end of the power cable into a socket, and then it'll go through the motions of connecting up. So then what that does is then this one starts talking to this one and goes, oh, I've got internet, and it goes, oh, if you've got internet, can I use yours? And then they basically share the internet. And then you get the third one and do exactly the same. I won't do the third one because it's setting up exactly the same as the second one. So what that does is when you've got it in a different place in the house, because they're sharing it, this is able to share out a certain distance, this is as well, so they sort of overlap and complement each other. And even if one of the nodes goes down, let's just say, I don't know, for whatever reason, someone unplugs it and you don't realise, the other nodes in the house usually compensate and help and still work if you're only two of them are working, to let you get connected to the internet still. As you can see, this one's flashing, similar as this one did. I'm guessing it'll start flashing a bit quicker in a few seconds, and once it's done that, it'll go that block green again. So basically they're doing what's called, well, in technical terms, a handshake. Okay, so they're basically saying yes, yes, I want to talk to each other, and there you go, it's gone green. These are pre-set up, so you don't have to set them up to want to work with the other or anything like that. They're all done already, and the same with the third one. It's basically plug in, go, get your phone out, put your codes in, or whatever device you're using, and you're on the internet. Simple as. So that's it. So I can connect up to whichever node I want. Well, I don't connect to whichever, it automatically does it to whichever you got your best signal, and away you go. Now you can set the Novas up through your phone, so you need to get the Tenda Wi-Fi app, which basically you scan the QR code on the bottom, and when you open the Tenda Nova software, let me try and make it easy for you to see. It'll ask you to agree to terms and conditions and so forth. This is picking up my pre-set up one, and it's going, oh, there's a new manageable Tenda router is found, Nova, this is the new one. So you just press set up, it'll say welcome, you just follow the instructions. So it's identifying your connection type, as in, are you using Wi-Fi cable, blah blah blah, and how it's working. So basics is you just keep pressing next, and then if it asks you do you want to change anything, that's obviously optional. So you can change your Wi-Fi name, you can change your password as well, so that's totally up to you, and then go through all the different settings to do whatever you want. Let me just skip through all that. Once you've got it all set up, obviously I'm showing you with my pre-set up network. As you can see, I've got two MW6s and some MW5s in there, so it gives you a rough idea. I've got a network already set up. These work exactly the same, but you can click on each individual node. It gives you information about them if you really want to, so that's pretty good. But there's also settings on there as well, so you can go to settings, you can change your wireless settings, you can set up a guest network, partner controls, internet settings. You've got add another Nova if you wanted to, so you just press add Nova, you find the Nova you want to add, you scan the QR code on the bottom and it adds it onto the system, so you could go out and buy multiple different ones. So you've got quite a few different options on there. Two of the things what you can't do is stuff like changing your Wi-Fi channels and stuff like that, which can be a bit of a pain. Well, to some people it can be a bit of a pain, but in basics, in most cases you would never need to do that anyway. The only time you would is if, let's just say, you've got a neighbour who was really close to you and they were running their devices on the same Wi-Fi frequency. Sometimes you can have hiccups, but again, I think that happens on a lot of mesh systems where you can't change the Wi-Fi signal, otherwise it causes the whole system to start, well, not talking to each other basically. So that's the basics to it. So as you can see, it's pretty straightforward. You can do what you want. You can go in the wireless settings, change the details, save it and so forth. You can monitor it. There's that many different things on there. I can go back, here we go, and then you can go back to your screen and have a look at all your different options. And if you've got multiple of these networks up, it lets you show all the different ones you've got. So as you can see, I've got a tech for text, I've got one in our chip store, and then it's picking up another Nova one I've set up as well. So you can set up lots of different ones and you can access each of them. So if I want to access the system in our store, you just click on that one, and then you can basically unbind it or go into the description and change the settings and so forth if you wanted. And as you can see, we've got 2 units set up in the store, what we use for demonstration purposes. And I can change those settings not even being in the store with ease. Okay, so let's get started with the testing. We're doing the internet ping test first. This is basically testing how quickly the computer, or should I say the Wi-Fi, responds between the device we're testing from and the internet, which is usually the exchange. And basically, you can see here that speeds are roughly the same no matter if they're on Wi-Fi or LAN, with a couple of milliseconds difference between each. But basically, the lower the speed, the better. Obviously LAN is generally always the better. Once we get to 12 meters away, we can't check the BT hub via LAN because it's too far away with the cable, so we're just testing it with Wi-Fi. And you can see the BT hub Wi-Fi is 24, followed by the Tenda LAN at 18 and the Tenda running the Wi-Fi at 20. And as you can see, the ping test is a lot more responsive on the Tenda devices when you get further away from the router, because of obviously that mesh coverage. Now we do the test again 25 meters away. This time we were in basically a non-attached brick garage, which is basically separate from the main building, so it's a bit of a distance away. It's got to go through plenty of walls. The BT hub could not connect via Wi-Fi, it was too far away, but the Tenda MW12 via Wi-Fi and LAN still kept a very low ping level, which is excellent work considering the distance away. And again, that whole mesh system is covering a large area. Okay, so we're doing basically the same test again, but this time it's download speed. So that's how fast you're actually downloading. So in an equivalent of a car, that would be the maximum speed the car will be able to go. So here you can see 2 meters away from the BT hub, you can see that speeds are pretty much the same on all within 1 or 2 megabits per second. So again, this is megabits, not megabytes. So when you get further away, this is when this next test comes into show. So the further away you get from the BT hub, the speed drops. As you can see via the Wi-Fi, it drops down to 48 megabits per second. In comparison to the Tenda Nova, was running at 64 and 63, depending on if you're using LAN or Wi-Fi. So the actual speed using the Tenda Novas there is hugely different to the BT hub. So I can't really say enough of the actual speed you're actually managing not to increase but to keep. But again, when you get even further away, we couldn't even connect up to the BT hub at all. 25 meters away, again, it's in a garage, which is a brick garage, but with the Tendas and Novas, we were still able to get mid-high 50 megabytes, should I say megabits per second download speed, which is pretty good in all honesty compared to the MW6, which again is still a good mesh Wi-Fi system. It's a cheaper model. We were only getting around about mid 40s, so again, it's a definitely increase in speed. We also tested this on our network in our retail shop, which gets roughly around about 400 megabits per second download speeds. And again, it was able to cope with that, no issue at all. Again, right next to the router, doesn't make much of a difference, but the further away you get, the more of a difference there is. For example, from one side of our shop to the other, it drops from 400 down to 200 using just the standard Virgin router. But when we connected the Novas up, we're able to get well over 370 megabytes per second, which was one hell of a less of a drop than using the Virgin router. From what I can tell, the difference in the tri-band compared to a dual band mesh system like the MW6 and this one, which is the MW12, is that this version has sort of like a backbone, or what they call a dedicated backhaul, which basically means one of the Wi-Fi connections, which is the 5G ones, which is capable of going close to 900 megabits per second, is dedicated for the devices talking between each other. So they're not having to talk to each other, as well as messing around with the Wi-Fi, connecting them from another device and so forth. So you've got one dedicated with them talking to each other and sending data between the two, and then you've got a standard 2.4G and another 5G connection where you would connect up to the device. So it basically gives more options of connecting up to the device and allowing more information to pass through without it being interrupted. Only real negatives I see about the device is, one is that you need an app to actually use it, as in change the settings or anything like that on your smartphone or tablet. Not everyone has one, but generally most people do these days. But it would be nice to have an option of logging into a web console like you would on most routers, where you type in an address like 192.168.1.2 and then type in a password and an admin details to get in there and change the settings, which you cannot do with this. You have to use the app on your device, which can be a bit of a pain if you're getting someone to try and remotely help you, because that means they can't just log into the router and change the settings for you. They have to have the app on their phone to be able to do it, and generally they're not going to be able to set that up without coming probably round to your house and do it. So remotely setting this up or changing things might be an issue, and that seems to be the same with all the Novas we've come across. You also have limited options in changing things like the wireless frequency and the authentication type for the password. Yes, you can change the name of the router, change the Wi-Fi password, but you cannot change the frequency, which is a bit of a pain. And again, the same thing on all the other Novas we've come across. Now we come down to the price. At the moment, the price for this device is roughly £300 UK, which is a lot of money for a mesh system. Don't get me wrong, it's one hell of a good mesh system, but is it worth £300? Only you can answer that, unfortunately, but for me, I think it's probably worth it. But when you consider the MW6, which specifications aren't that far off this, you can pick it up at the moment roughly probably £150, maybe 170 or something like that. There's a big difference in price, because for example you could pick up 6 nodes for the MW6 for the same price. You can pick up just 3 nodes for the MW12. So it's down to what you're using it for. For example, we saw a difference between using the MW6 and the MW12, especially when getting further away, that 25 meter range in basically a separate building. We found the speeds were roughly 30-40% faster than the MW6, the little brother, should we say, or little sister, which is a lot better. I'm going to say that can make, save a lot of time for us if our internet speed is going faster. Also, you can connect up more devices to it as well. So you've got basically better coverage, better speeds, more devices connect to it. It's basically more. But obviously it does cost you more as well. If you're one of these people what wants the best of the best, the fastest internet speeds, the quickest response times, but you've got to use wireless, you want your gaming to have the best ping so you can react faster in your games and stuff like that, then yes, MW12 definitely for you. I'd go for it every day of the week. But if all you're doing is in a 3-bedroom house and you need to just play on Facebook and a few basic games, then I suggest going for something like the MW6. Don't get me wrong, the whole Nova range is brilliant, but obviously different ones suit different people. But this one is aimed at basically people who want the best of the best. Big offices maybe can use it as well, multiple people can connect up, or larger homes, or for example us, a home what's got basically a building to the side, in our case a garage, where they need that extra penetration from the wireless signal. So what sort of award do we give a device like this? Well, it's quite a hard one to do because we do highly recommend this, but does it go that extra mile? I think it does, personally. It does come with a little bit of a cost, but again, you get what you pay for. So the award we're going to give this is our Hell Yeah Award.